Hello, welcome to Premier Scene. I'm Claire Bueno, where we get to speak to Ronan Keating at the world premiere of Another Mother's Son. I saw your character as an incredibly courageous person. I mean, he risks a lot for his sister.
Yeah, he does. He risks a lot. They all do, in a community, but also as a family, what they go through. And you kind of ask yourself, in this day and age, would we do the same? And it's a good question to ask ourselves, because most people would probably say no, or maybe they would say yeah. I'd like to think they'd say yeah. But you can't believe that this story is a true story. When you see some of the things that actually happened, you know, my character meeting Louisa on the train tracks, for him to meet his sister in the middle of France, randomly, on two carriages that pull up and the doors to open, and actually on Harold's birthday as well, heading to a concentration camp. You just can't write that, you know. It's you know, they say the best stories are the real ones.
How are you doing? It is very cold. You're sensibly dressed.
It wasn't. I had a beautiful dress that I was going to wear, and I took a look at the weather and went, no.
You did the sensible thing.
I'm already shaking with cold, so if my jaw starts to shake, it's an excuse to hold on.
Yeah, it's a dirty job. Someone's got.
Yeah, I know.
And what will make you shake as well is watching this film, because it's such a fine example of compassion and selflessness, isn't it?
It is. An ordinary woman doing something extraordinary in a community, and trusting that her community would share in her act. And somebody in that community let her down, which is a tragedy. She was a little naive, God bless her. She was a good woman, a very good woman, the centre of her community, a woman who loved her sons. One of them died, so she took Bill in, and she loved Bill as a son.
As her own.
And with regards to the relationship between you in the film, how did that manifest offset? Because it was a friendship that was nourished as the film goes on, doesn't it?
I hate him.
Yeah, horrid.
I want nothing to do with him.
It was the worst. Oh, it was lovely, and I think we got along since the audition, really.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, and we've become best pals, I think, on set and off set.
Julian is a very talented actor, and
stop it.
in order to play a scene with an actor, to have what they call chemistry, it requires listening and being open. And that's what he has in spades. He creates his own character, he inhabits him, he listens, and he reacts. Acting is reacting.
And there's got to be a bravery as well, in a film like this, where you're just free to let it go and see what happens in the moment.
It was like that. There's the scene where I get a telegram telling me that my son has died.
It's a beautiful scene.
And I knew I was going to get emotional. I had no idea what was going to happen, and this sort of wail came out of me, and I physically collapsed. And it was like, whoa, where did that come from? Yeah. But it was like Louisa was there just going, oh, my boy,
yeah,
you know.
It's a force of nature.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's exactly it. You got to live in the moment, do your prep, but then forget about it, and just having such a generous actor opposite you, it's easy.
But I also felt that Louisa was with us. I can't explain it. And I think we all felt that. There was it was a helping hand there, a guiding hand. Yeah. You know, we needed hailstones, and hailstones came. We needed sunshine, they came.
Yeah.
It was quite extraordinary, you know.
Do you feel as well that the story was balanced with how hard it was, not just for the locals living there, but for the Russians that were brought in and were working practically as slaves? It seems to tell that story in a balanced way, doesn't it?
I hope so.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And also that not all the Germans were awful.
Exactly, I was going to say that, yeah.
There were some decent people, where there always are in war.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the beautiful thing about the script and the movie. I thought when I was reading, I was like, what a beautiful script. Shows war in a very gray way. That there's no black and white. There's good people and bad people, or people driven to different aspects of themselves. But we just have to remain true to ourselves and honor our goodness and our humanity to prevail in moments of division like this.
I think what's really interesting about this film is the normality of everybody. You just get normality. And people just living their lives, and there are no massive dramas. There's the odd kind of sadness and when Louisa was distraught, but they get on with their lives, and it's the inevitability of what's coming, and you're going, oh no, please don't do that, no, and then it happens.
And you get to sing as well.
I sing a little bit of Russian, yeah. That was tricky. That was very tricky, yeah.
This is such an incredibly moving story, isn't it?
It is. It's not only an epic story, more importantly, it's a true story. And as I was saying earlier, I think it's so important that people see it and get inspired, and every act of courage should be taken today and inspire people to do the same.
Because there's such a story of compassion and kindness, isn't there?
Compassion, risk, understanding the difference, and accepting other cultures and taking them on board, and not having the judgment, but just human to human, helping out, reaching out a hand to somebody else.
And when you read the script, obviously loved the story, but then the part that you're playing, what particularly resonated?
Well, I think of the French take, in the story, being the French one. So I thought it was really interesting to know that, the French and the English cohabited, and they worked together, and especially when Europe is, disintegrating in a certain way. I think to see that, Nicole, the character I play, and Louise, Jenny's character, were together in there, and the whole family. It's the story of a family, really, and I think, warts and all, you stick together.
When you read the story, what was it that particularly resonated?
I think how brave Louisa is and how kind, and the idea that people are that brave in the face of so much kind of anger and hatred, and it's inspiring. Yeah,
it's inspiring. And for somebody like as well your age, do you think that this is a great example as well of educating the young with what actually happened back in World War II?
Definitely, I think it's a story that's educational, because Jersey is not something that people really know about. It's not very advertised that we kind of left them, and I think it's such a troubling time at the moment globally, and the idea that people can help people in need is the kind of thing that you can relate to whoever you are.
And with regards to relating, sorry, it's cold, I can't get my words out. How did you relate to your character?
So Annie's just very sweet, and she's just really lovely, she's really hardworking, and she's the kind of person that she's like what you want your daughter to be, I kind of think. She's like what you want your daughter's best friend to be. She's the girl next door, and it's always just fun to play someone that's just really sweet.
How did this story present itself to you?
It was a story I'd known about since I was a little girl, and I'd grown up with it, started realising what an important story it was as I got older, and by the time I started writing single dramas, started to think, if I don't write it, maybe no one else is going to.
And it's such an important story to tell, isn't it? Because, I mean, watching it feels like a story that is just full of compassion and kindness, and the kind of risks that people will go to. It's such a great example of humanity, isn't it?
It's a fantastic example of personal courage and sacrifice, and so few people outside of the Channel Islands really know what happened during the war years, and they certainly don't know about the individual acts of courage at that time, and the fact that it's my family involved in it, I just feel immensely proud.
I mean, so how did you go about sort of researching the individual?
Oh, lots of research, tons of research, going to the Jersey archives, talking to the people who were still alive, who were involved, lots of trips over, reading a lot of books. Paul Saunders is a fantastic historian who helped me a lot, and basically just getting all the ingredients together and then trying to create a great story out of it, hopefully.
And there's a great balance as well with just how hard it is for the Russians and the Germans. It's a balanced story, isn't it?
Well, it's not easy for anyone in that situation. A lot of the Germans who were there didn't really want to be there, but there were also others that were very cruel. And there were people like the Russians and many of the Eastern Europeans who were just shipped there and used as slave labour. So that's a story I've wanted to get out for a long time.
This is a wonderful story of compassion, isn't it?
It is. I mean, it's an inspiring story. I think it's so unusual. I think it's very easy to forget that the UK was occupied during the Second World War. 99% of it wasn't, but part of it was, and it's easy to forget that those islands were occupied in the same way that occupied Europe was taken over by the Third Reich, and along with that came all the moral difficulties and choices that people had to make. And this, of course, is the story of a remarkable woman who made remarkable choices. And I think it's a moving and inspiring story.
And with regards to your character, I saw him very much like he was kind of no nonsense, and he played things by the book, didn't he? Because you had to.
Yeah. Well, that's why the story is so appealing, because in any occupied country, it seems that some people everybody does what they think is right. Some people have a family to look after, and therefore they will go along and do whatever the occupiers ask them to do. Some people think, actually, that's not good enough. I'm going to take a few risks here. These people shouldn't be here, and that's the decision they make. And she certainly did. And
we see that we're all accountable for our actions.
It's
a very moving story.
Yeah, it is. It's she was a remarkable woman. Yeah.